So I don't know about you, but there are times in my life where I felt I have been too jealous, right? To the point to where I feel like it's actually damaging or hindering any kind of growth in my relationship. Now, if this is you, this is what we are talking about today. How do we stop being so jealous? Now, for all those people out there who don't know who I am, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite. And today we want to stop jealousy. How do we stop jealousy? Now, I remember my very first relationship, and I'll be honest, right? I was extremely jealous in my very first relationship. It was my first official relationship, and I didn't really know how to deal with it, right? Now, I've been brought up, and I've seen my parents divorce, and I've seen many different relationships in the same, manner. And so for me, it's hard to deal with relationships because I see relationships under that filter, right? And this is what we need to understand is a lot of the relationships we're in, there's a reason why we feel the way we do. Now, it may be, previous relationships or, again, relationships that we've seen growing up, whether that's our parents or whether that's, other, family members or friends that we've seen and their parents split up, whatever the deal may be. We always see relationships under a certain model, right? We always have this relationship model that is ideal and where we want our relationship to be, and then we have our relationship, and that model seems so much further away than it actually is in all reality, right? Now, how do we stop the jealousy? Well, the thing is we have to look and see what exactly that relationship was, right? That relationship that we feel we don't want to be like our previous relationship, and we may not feel actually confident enough in ourselves. So what do we do when we don't feel confident in ourselves? We start projecting that on the other person, and that comes through clear as day, because the other person may not understand where this is coming from, or may not understand where this jealousy is coming from. And it's something that you internally may have to deal with, right? Now, unless the other person has actually, shown their colors and they have cheated on you or whatever the case may be, in that particular case, then there is good reason to be jealous. And that's when you start placing restrictions on that relationship, which I believe even before that time that relationship shouldn't exist any longer. Now, that would easily, stop the jealousy because there was reason, right? There was reason why you're jealous. There was reason for the jealousy, where most cases there was other previous relationships. You may see something that reminds you of that other relationship that someone is doing, right? Maybe that person was busy all the time, and maybe they actually were at work, or maybe they were actually cheating, or whatever the case may be, but you associate whatever actions that you see in this new relationship with whatever you saw in previous relationships, and are starting to cast judgment, right? Now, yes, we should learn from all our previous relationships, but you can't go in and just filling the gaps, right? You can't just assume that that's what that person is doing. So again, if it has nothing to do with the other person, there's a lot of internal conflicts that you have, that you may not feel confident, that you may not feel that you're deserving of the relationship. So you start feeling jealous, right? You start getting jealous of what the other person is doing, and maybe it has nothing to do with relationships. Maybe it could even be a job. Maybe you're jealous of the other person's job in a relationship. So you just start nitpicking on little things to where you just start getting jealous for no reason, and for what reason, right? So the biggest thing to understand here is that you have to look internally and make sure internally you're sound, right? Internally you're happy, internally you're confident. If what you need to do is go out and build that confidence, whatever it may be. If you have to start working out just to get a little bit more confidence in yourself, or spend more time away from that person, right? Just so you can appreciate the other person more. The thing is again, if there is no reason, if you don't have any evidence of that other person doing anything, you should have enough trust in that person, right? If you don't have enough trust in that person, then you shouldn't even be with that person. But if you do have trust in that person, then there is no reason to be so jealous to where it is damaging the relationship, right? We don't want to be damaging the relationship, and a lot of times, a lot of people spend too much time together, and in my opinion, I don't believe that that is healthy at all. You need your time apart. You need your time to, reflect on your relationship. You need your time, your own time to grow. So that's the big thing, is just to understand that you're gonna need your time. You're gonna need your time to yourself, your private time, so you can reflect on your relationship and go out there and don't feel like the other person is holding you back, right? If you're in a relationship where you feel like you're restricted, you can't do anything, that's gonna cause a lot of hate for the other person and a lot of, resentment for the other person, and it's gonna cause, being jealous, and then you just start being jealous for no reason. The big thing is to just take your time and enjoy time together, enjoy time apart, and trust the other person, right? If you can't trust the other person, then I believe that relationship should not even, you guys shouldn't be together if you guys cannot trust each other, period. That's what I think, that's what I believe, is that it's not gonna work out, right? If you can't trust the other person, yes, you're gonna be constantly jealous of the other person. Yes, you're gonna be constantly restricting that person, which is gonna cause that person to get angry and frustrated and become jealous of you, right? If the other person sees that you're jealous, it's gonna make them jealous without them even knowing and understanding why they're so jealous. And it all comes down to just your inner self, right? You're not confident in yourself. You feel that maybe you've even possibly cheated, in that you think the other person could do the same to you. And this is not the mindset to get in, because this just leads up to more negative thoughts. And you just need to start replacing those negative thoughts with positive thoughts, right? So we know that we can trust the other person. We know that, we may have some internal things that we need to deal with, but we need to deal with them and not, push that off onto the other person, that the other person was doing the same things that, we're possibly thinking about. Yes, we are all human, and to assume that the other person is doing something, you're gonna end up pushing that person to doing it, because they're gonna eventually get to that point to where they're like, well, you're constantly making me feel like I've already done something, right? When in fact I haven't, so then I might as well do something because I'm already getting blamed for it, right? You don't want to cause that scenario to where the other person feels guilty for something they did not do. So you don't want to constantly be pushing them and bombarding them and thinking that they're doing something when they're not, and causing all these negative thoughts. It compounds and compiles, and then it just keeps getting worse. So there could even be some external things where that person has broken the trust, and at that point, then that relationship should be non-existent at that point. Now, this is, good. This is gonna build your confidence up. You want somebody you can trust, and we all don't want to get hurt. We all don't want that, right? But you can't keep up that guard. You can't think that that other person is out to get you, right? You have to put trust in the other person. And if whatever you got to do, if you got to actually go to counseling and try to build that, then build that, or go out and do other things. The key here is to get the negative thoughts out of your head. Once you implant those negative thoughts about what the other person is doing, again, from reflecting on previous relationships, that is only gonna make the relationship sink, and it won't be able to swim at that point. At that point, it's just going to sink, and it's only gonna get worse and worse until you actually make that mindset change and start thinking positive, right? Start thinking good things about the relationship. And then the jealousy will eventually, it will start going away. And because you can trust that person, because that person has your back. And you should also know that that person just, doesn't hold your happiness, right? You shouldn't be feeling like if you lost that person, that would be your entire happiness, right? You shouldn't push off your happiness to somebody else. You should realize that you are in sole possession of your happiness, and that thinking that one person holds that happiness for you is going to be a major problem. To think that one person holds your happiness is going to be your downfall in a relationship. So you need to remember that and understand that the relationship is supposed to complement you, and that if it's not doing that, that yes, you'll get jealous, and yes, there'll be all these hard feelings, and yes, that's probably a good sign that you should not be in that relationship in the first place. So just rethink how you approach the relationship and make sure that there are positive aspects to that relationship. And again, if there's anything negative you are thinking about or possibly happened, just address that, communicate that hey, I have concerns, right? That this X, Y, and Z is happening, and they may tell you, no, that's not at all what's going on, but the other person does need to relate what exactly is going on, right? And if you can't trust what they're saying, then you need to tell them that. So it's just some last thoughts for you guys. It's just that yes, a relationship is work, and yes, you will get jealous, right? You put a lot of time, effort, and energy into a relationship, and there will be jealousy, right? Because you don't want that, relationship to just disappear, right? You care, right? That's where the jealousy comes from. But we have to, not set boundaries. We shouldn't restrict the other person from doing other things, because then we are overstepping our boundary. The other person should just be complimenting us, and they should not be, in charge of our happiness. They shouldn't be in charge of anything. They should only be helping us grow in life, right? They should not do anything but that. And if it continues, the jealousy continues, you just need to look internally, right? You need to look at the source and see what's really causing the jealousy. And if it's something internal, then you need to work on it. If you need to get help, get help. But the thing is not to, cast blame on the other person. If you don't know, then there's no reason to cast blame, right? You should just move on, right? If you can't get over the jealousy, if you feel like there is such an issue, then maybe you need to relook at the whole relationship in itself. So if you guys like this video, smash that like button, and until next time, I will see you guys later.